Hello again. This is Shakespeare now. This is the second video of the 133rd day. A couple of websites I want to tell you about before I get into other things. humanitynotes.webs.com. It's been a little while since I've mentioned that. I should mention it often. I should probably have it posted sometime. That is a complete set of notes for this class, the last year that I taught the class as a public school teacher. It's online. I recommend you not forget that it's there. If, for example, you didn't really understand what I meant about setting the notes up. Now, the order is a little different. The page numbering is a little different. It's really wonderful. I went there this morning because I couldn't remember this website, and that I knew that that student had it recorded in his notes. Shakespeare.mit.edu, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That's the website I go to if I quickly want to see an exact Shakespearean quote. All of Shakespeare's plays are there. I find it very accessible as long as you know the plays well enough. All right, now I'm going to talk about Julius Caesar in a moment. I should have this underlined. Let me deal with that. But these are Dover thrift editions, and there's the first play that I dealt with in this course, Much Ado About Nothing. Then I told you about Romeo and Juliet. Now that says Mr. A's copy director. Well, I want to remind you that upstairs in this barn there is an Elizabethan theater. Well, I shouldn't say that exactly, but there's a version of the stage of the Rose Theater. Why it would be here? It's because the Shakespearean troupe, when I was teaching in public school, we performed. We did 25 or more productions of Shakespearean plays. And these are the scripts we use when I directed Romeo and Juliet. Dover thrift editions. They are so good. So cheap and so easy to use. Then I told you about Twelfth Night, because at the very end of Shakespeare in Love, Shakespeare goes into the writing of Twelfth Night. After Christmas, I discussed A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I hope that you watched it. We've performed that many times. And just yesterday, I was telling you about As You Like It. This is a fun one to do. At least once, maybe twice that we did it, we dressed up as hippies, a bunch of hippies living in the woods. But anyway, I wanted to quote one speech here. Often I played the part of the old guys. And the Duke Senior, the guy that's been banished to the Forest of Arden. Here's his opening speech. You probably won't understand every word of it, but I'm going to give it a shot. Now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here feel we but the penalty of Adam, the season's difference, as the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which, when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile, and say, this is no flattery. These are counselors, that feelingly persuade me what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, there goes a tractor, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head. I think I ought to let him go by. I hope you can hear me. Well, there's the adversities of being in the country. And this our life exempt from public haunt finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it. And good in tractors going up hills. You bet. Anyway, that's the announcement of it as a pastoral, I think, play, saying that the countryside is so much better than living in the court. Well, I feel the same way, certainly, about a farm versus a city or even a town. I could go on about that, but I won't, because I want to tell you about Julius Caesar. Beware the Ides of March. Today is, in fact, March 15th, 2012. And this is the Ides of March, the middle of March. And that is maybe the most famous quote or one of the most famous quotes from this play. Julius Caesar is a tragedy. It's very often taught at the 10th grade level. It was for me. I think one of the reasons it's used so much in school is because it has almost no body humor in it at all. There's almost none of that. As a matter of fact, there's almost nothing funny in it. It's very serious. But that's not the only thing about it. The poetry is very, very good. It's not one of my favorite plays, and I don't exactly know why. I think maybe it's because Julius Caesar was assassinated. In Shakespeare's day, that was the most famous assassination in the world. And he's assassinated by the third act. Well, there's 5 acts, and there's 2 more acts to go. And I kind of lose interest after he's assassinated. Well, it was one of my students, I think, or somebody explained to me that, well, Julius Caesar's not the main character. The main character is Brutus. One of my students insisted he wanted the part of Brutus because he knew that that was the main character. When Julius Caesar returns victorious, it looks like he's going to be proclaimed emperor for life, emperor. And that was going to ruin the Roman Republic, was the feeling. And he came in, the people just loved him, really popular. He's supposed to have been too ambitious. 3 times he denied the crown. But as he's coming in, an old sage, a wise man, out in the street shouts, "Beware the Ides of March," to Julius Caesar. That's the day he was assassinated. But he ignores that, and on the Ides of March, he goes to the Senate, even though he was warned not to, and also in a dream. At the moment, I can't remember the name of his wife. I didn't write her. But anyway, there a group of senators all converge on him, about 20 of them, and they all stab him to death. And so many of them, because that way it would spread the blame out. It wouldn't just be one guy. Well, Mark Antony was not among them. He remained Julius Caesar's friend. Brutus was, and Brutus thought that maybe I should put Cassius in here, because Cassius is more easier to understand. He's more like somebody truly more evil. Brutus really felt, he's torn, because he really felt that Julius Caesar's ambition was going to ruin his country. And so it was almost a choice for him of which is more important, patriotism to his country or his friendship with Julius Caesar. Well, as Julius Caesar dies, he sees Brutus there, and these famous words, "Et tu, Brute," and you, Brutus, even you, Brutus, among the killers. By the end, Cassius is dead, Brutus is dead, Julius Caesar's dead, Mark Antony isn't. But the other thing to tell you about is at the funeral speech. Now this is wonderful. At Julius Caesar's funeral, Brutus speaks, and then they let Mark Antony speak. It was a big mistake. And his funeral speech starts with the words, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him." But then he goes on and keeps referring to them as honorable men, these guys that killed Caesar. It's a real study. That speech alone is certainly worth doing as a performance. And I've had it done by a student very, very well one time. I say see Marlon Brando because in the 1950s, a black and white version of Julius Caesar, to my knowledge, it's the best that was ever done. Marlon Brando was a young man at that time. It's really worth seeing. I didn't even look on YouTube. I'm sure it's there. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.